Right.
Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, my name is Adam. You are listening to the TeenDroid Podcast, a brand new podcast where we are going to try and talk about Android, but make it interesting and add our own little thing to it. I'm your host for this show, and today I am joined with Felipe,
Hey.
Sean,
Hi.
Mike, and,
Hello.
and Archie.
Yo.
Your name? Anyway, so we better get on with it. We've got some stuff to talk about, haven't we?
Yes.
Let's start with.
Oh wait, I need that one. Keep going.
Okay, let's start.
Weather update complete.
Let's start with the Galaxy S4, which is going to be announced in. Is it less than a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like next
40th?
Next
Wednesday.
week.
Thursday.
Next Thursday. Sounds good.
Thursday. So we've been hearing some interesting stuff about it, haven't we? We've all seen those leaked pictures of the supposed like scrolling with your eyes.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of different leaked features that I don't know if I would call them confirmed quite about yet. Although we did
This
see
is
some
Samsung we're talking
screenshots.
about.
Yeah,
The
that's
best
it.
thing would
Yeah.
be if it's made from aluminium and not melted
Yes.
down Action Man.
I'm pretty sure it'll be plastic, mate.
Well, it's
Samsung.
plastic. This is
Yeah.
Samsung we're talking about.
It's
They're
just-
not using plastic.
Like,
Yeah, we did see some screenshots that were of a settings menu that had like a checkbox for like enabling scrolling with your eyes, but it was kind of odd since like the same list had like on-off switches and checkboxes.
Mm.
oh yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
The first thing I must say
Right.
is, for it to have like eye tracking, that needs a damn good front-facing camera.
Yeah,
Mhm.
wouldn't it take a battery
You
as
could
well?
you could easily do like face tracking because they've already got that, but
Yeah,
eye
exactly.
tracking
They already
is
have
it's
live
like a
eye
whole different
tracking
thing.
Yeah.
with the whole like smart stay thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart Stay is complete rubbish. I'm not gonna lie.
I haven't
I've-
tried it.
I've never ever
Really
once seen
like-
it work. It
It
just
does
doesn't
not
work.
work.
All these things are
Doesn't
there
work.
so they can say they have them, not
Yeah.
because they actually do
It's,
stuff.
it's complete
Just so that they
gag,
can
isn't
say they
it?
have it.
Hmm.
Like the
Anyway,
plastic back.
moving
They
on.
said.
What specs do you guys think it will have?
Octa-core
There's been
Exynos.
It's gonna have a 39-inch
yeah,
screen.
I don't know. There's been There's been like rumors that it might be the octa-core, but I don't think they're gonna do that quite yet. It's
Why
kind of
would you-
like
Sorry,
their
yeah.
version of the Snapdragon 800, and that's supposed to come out like in the fall.
I would
So
like
I don't
to-
know if we'll see it that early.
They should ship it with the Snapdragon 800. Just like, yeah, well, here we go. But
Probably the Snapdragon S60. I guess.
Yeah, the
600
600
seems more likely.
The
if they're gonna
600
do one.
Mhm.
is probably more likely than
That's
the
what's like coming out right now with the HTC One, and I think
One.
yeah,
But
a couple of
Everything is not
Charles-
ZTE.
There's
I
no way
reckon-
they're going to use Tegra 4.
Oh god, that's
No,
better
not
than
gonna
Tegra
happen.
4. That's never
Sorry.
gonna happen.
but no.
It's either going to be
I'm,
Exynos or Snapdragon. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the
I
two.
mean,
No, because apparently Samsung
I basically
said
just
they
summed
get
up 3
Exynos.
processors there.
That's what I heard.
So,
Yeah, I heard Samsung get rid of Exynos and going to go for something else, which is funny, but
You know-
interesting.
The thing that pretty much their only A15s they've announced are the dual core one that's in the Nexus 10, and I
Mhm.
can't see them going from a quad core to a dual core
yeah,
just
exactly.
from the marketing, and the octa core.
I think
Mhm.
octa-core is just ridiculous. I honestly do not see the need for an octa-core phone.
But then Tegra 4 is made up of 4 A15 cores as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but no one wants to use a Tegra 4.
Yeah.
I bet if Samsung just made an Exynos with exactly the same thing, everyone would want it. It's just the
Well,
fact that it's
it's-
got a Tegra logo on it.
It's because
Yeah,
the Tegra 3
yeah,
is
The octa core is very much like the Tegra's. The Tegra is 4+1. The Exynos is 4+4.
Yeah. Plus, what are those for? Are those like A9s, A7s? What are those? I don't know.
I'm not
Do
sure.
we know yet? I don't know if they've actually said
Sure.
what they are yet.
Let me check.
But yeah. Also, has there been a single device besides the Shield Project Shield announced with Tegra 4 in it? I can't name one.
There isn't.
It's back to the Exynos. It's 4 A15s and 4 A7s.
Ah, okay.
See, that's pretty crazy, considering like a Nexus 4
Yeah.
has 2 A15s. That's
Yeah.
Nexus 10 even.
And my
that's a
Galaxy
lot.
Nexus has 2 A7s.
Yeah.
So,
It's pretty ridiculous when you think of it like that. But
or no,
but what
Galaxy
they'll-
Nexus is A9s.
They're going to put
Nook
like,
is
say
A7.
they put the octa-core processor in, they're going to have a 1080p screen, which, let's face it, it's going to be AMOLED. Like,
It's
and then they're
not.
going to put like,
Well, have we seen a 1080p AMOLED yet? I think we've just seen LCD so far.
Which is LCD3, isn't it? Super LCD3.
but then there was rumours that it was just going to be, what is it, like Solux or something like that.
Solux. I
swear
haven't heard
It
that.
begins with S anyway.
The thing is, if it is octa-core and has a 1080p and a Super AMOLED, it's going to leave a big battery, like a big...
Like a
massive-
Note-sized battery.
Yeah, I'm talking 3,000.
Yeah, exactly.
it's
But
gonna-
then again, they've
Well-
also said the device is probably going to be like 4.99 inches, so it's almost big enough where it could have like a Note-sized battery.
But then you've got much more stuff in it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Stuff isn't
Yeah.
all that big though.
Yeah.
So go on then,
Yeah.
you guys, rounding up. I want what your, Oh, what about the camera then? That's a good one. What do you think of the camera? What will be like?
I can tell you one thing: it will not be in ultra pixels.
It's going to be
Ultra
13.
it's going to be a
13.
97 megapixel camera.
Yeah, I
Everyone's
think they're
going
gonna.
13.
Yeah, I
it'll be
think
13.
just to kind of show HTC up, they're just gonna go kind of HTC's pushing the whole megapixels don't matter. It's more about the quality of the photo. I think they're gonna go in the complete opposite direction and say that megapixels do
Yeah,
matter,
but
which they
then-
do to an
well, that's-
extent, but
Not as
like
much
they're gonna
as
go in the complete
the
opposite
market.
direction. I think like 13 is probably what we're gonna see at 12 or 13.
The thing is,
Yeah.
with megapixels, the market is just like... I'm sure if you talk to all your friends about people who know about smartphones, but not as much as we do, evidently. Talk about megapixels, it's like the main thing about a camera in their eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It has
That's what the
it has that
consumer
amount of
sees for
megapixels.
sure.
Yeah,
Well, that's what's true with
although
those urban myths. It's not actually true megapixels.
although one thing is, it's like you don't see cameras with like 3 megapixels, 2
Yeah.
Not
megapixels anymore.
Not anymore.
The minimum you see is 5.
Yep.
the norm is
Galaxy
8.
Nexus represent.
But then if they didn't use megapixels, what would they see? Like, this camera's got a better lens than the old one. It's just not going to work. They've got to have a number,
Yeah,
haven't they?
Hey, that's
no-
what Apple
no
just did.
consumer's gonna get that. Yeah, exactly.
It
Well,
has a sapphire lens.
Apple.
Sapphire.
It's
That makes
just
all
not
your
After
gonna
half
work.
pictures
people would be
purple.
like, "Why isn't it blue?" Yeah, like, "Why is the lens blue now?"
Yeah. Why are all my pictures purple?
Anyway, moving swiftly on. I've got down here the death of the trade show, which I actually was thinking about this last night, and it is a very valid point. So we
It
just had
is.
CES, and we've had Mobile World Congress, and the funny thing about those two was that apart from Sony and the Xperia Z,
Which Felipe can talk about.
there was no big announcements, like big OEM announcements, while HTC seem to have their own press conference. Samsung, of course, are having their own press conference. And it raises the question, are trade shows becoming smaller for smaller OEMs to show off their products, while the big ones show off theirs at their own press conferences?
Well,
What do you guys think about that?
You've got to look at
With
it
all
from
the-
their point of view. Like, you either go to a place where there's loads of people and everyone's not got the time to look at just your thing, or you make your own one and say, "Oh, look, we've such a big company, we can make our own venue."
Yeah,
Like-
that's what I think HTC
Yeah.
has definitely gone down that route with the one. But
That's-
it's whether the smaller OEMs can actually fund a big event like the HTC one.
Wait,
I don't
CES doesn't mean Chinese Electronics Show?
No, it doesn't.
Like,
But
You'd think it did.
I would put money on next year. Sony will have their own one, and ZTE will have their
Yeah.
own one.
Yeah.
don't talk
ZTE?
having-
Really?
Yeah, but
I
think
was
how
I'd
gonna
big
say
ZTE.
Huawei is more likely than ZTE.
ZTE.
Yeah, LG
Yeah,
is
that's,
right.
ZTE has Snapdragon 800
Huawei,
phones already.
Huawei, mate. Huawei is
That's true.
LG actually.
Huawei
LG
works
are
out.
getting pretty popular now.
Yeah, I was
LG.
actually surprised. A little while ago, I heard
Yeah,
someone around my school actually mention the LG Optimus, and I was like, "Whoa, they know what an Optimus is." I
I'll
was
be
very
honest.
surprised.
like I've been into phones for a long time, and I've never once seen an LG Optimus device. Like never. I've never seen an LG better than the LG chocolate. That's never
The
happened.
only LG devices I've seen in the wild are Optimus ones.
I've seen the Nexus 4 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen a
Nexus
Nexus
4,
4 twice.
The Nexus 4 doesn't count as an LG device.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually very true. But yeah, I think the whole OEM trade show thing is very valid, and it could be we could see just like loads of different OEM events, which would be nice but slightly annoying, because one of the whole things about trade shows, isn't it, that everyone like announces their device at that trade show, and there's a whole load of devices. Well, if everyone had their own trade show press event,
Yeah, it's kind of like what happened to Macworld, where Macworld was like I think a January event where Apple used to attend it, and we used to unveil some products there, like refresh their Macs, or maybe it's in the fall. I don't know where it's at because this isn't an Apple podcast, but it's kind of like what happened there, where they kind of moved away from it. They don't even attend it anymore, and I think it still goes on, but I don't think it's anywhere near as big in the news. And so if like the OEMs continue to like move away from the trade shows and try to have their own little special press conferences, and maybe we'll see more of these little dual press conferences, like one in London, one in New York City, like we saw with both BlackBerry 10 and with the HTC One event. I think we might see something like that happen to CES and MWC, where at least in the mobile tech, there probably wouldn't be as big of a news, I guess, week, or as big of a news, I guess, subject there.
You know,
sorry, go on, Sean. My bad.
my view is something like MWC. It could turn into everyone has their announcements in January and February, and then they all come to MWC, and that's when everyone goes and compares everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with CES, I mean, sure, if the phone makers go out, there's still lots of other stuff. I mean, where else are you gonna? LG's not going to hold a press conference to show off their new Android fridge.
Yeah, that is a very valid point. Is even though this is like a mobile technology kind of oriented podcast, there is a lot of stuff that happens at least at CES that we don't cover. MWC, I can specifically see it kind of falling into, I guess, falling out of the limelight if it doesn't have some larger OEMs. But CES is going to be bigger because there's cars, there's computers, there's gaming stuff, there's TVs, there's fridges with Twitter, all that stuff.
At Mobile World Congress, quite a lot of I think the Xperia Z and I think the HTC One were both on show at Mobile World Congress. Despite the fact that they were announced separately.
They were.
So whether Mobile World Congress, like Sean said, becomes like a demo ground for the OEM, so they announce their products at a separate press event and then show them off at Mobile World Congress. We'll wait to see.
Kind of similar to what Ubuntu Phone did, where they announced the OS like about 2 weeks or a week or so before CES, and then we all got to try it at CES, and then like a month later we got to try it on our devices, and so that's kind of interesting. It's different than we've seen with some other OEMs, where they like announce it and then you don't see anything about it until like a couple months later when it finally hits carriers.
But then Ubuntu have got to do that because they've got a tiny audience. They've got to do things like that and get people interested.
Yeah.
Now the big question: who will win, Ubuntu or Firefox?
Ubuntu,
hands down. What are Firefox trying to achieve?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
That's a whole other topic that like we can go into right here. Is like there's a whole bunch of smaller OSs right now. Like we've got Firefox, we've got Sailfish, we've got Ubuntu, we've got BlackBerry 10, which I would classify as a smaller OS at this point.
Yeah,
I would classify the OS as, but not the company.
Yeah, but so I mean, there's just 4 of them, and they're all vying for attention. But honestly, I don't know if it's the consumer attention that they need so much as it is the developer attention. And I mean,
agreed. We've reached the point where it's not like 5 years ago where everyone comes out with their own platform, and then it's like, okay, mic's off. It's not like 5 years ago where everyone comes out with their own platform, and then it's like, okay, here's 3 different platforms. You guys can choose which one. It's like a developer is like, okay, you can either develop for Android or iOS, maybe Windows Phone, and then it's like nothing else.
I think if BlackBerry did what they've done now, like a year ago, they would be in such a better position than they are now. Because
Oh yeah, for sure.
If this doesn't work for BlackBerry, then that is it. It's like
They're done.
It's like
Yeah,
the
they're
same as HTC.
If they launched the
this doesn't
Z10 a
help
year
HTC,
ago,
they're going to be in the they're going to be in the bad.
if they launched the Z10 a year ago, when the specs were actually equivalent to what everyone else had, because I mean it's like pretty much a 1X, which came out a year ago.
Exactly.
Because
And while we still
Frankly, waiting a year so you can get an LTE chipset when everyone else has it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
I forgot what I was going to say. Wait a minute.
go ahead, Felipe.
No, the mobile market is made by basically Android and iOS. There's no space left, and Windows Phone 8.
That's what I was going to say.
that's right.
What Felipe just said. I think the whole idea of Android and iOS, unless a platform such as Firefox or Ubuntu launches with 100,000 apps or 100,000 high quality apps, it won't.
Yeah, exactly. That's a point. Is that even the Android ports like BlackBerry 10, it launched with 70,000 apps when really, like, even a lot of those were just really crappy Android ports where anybody can do an Android emulator that runs like 2.3, and it's like that's absolutely not a good quality app, and it will never will be, because 2.3, as we saw the other day, is falling into obscurity. It's now less than 45%. It's so.
ICS is 28.6, 4.1 Jelly Bean is 14.9, and 4.2 is 1.6. But I take it 4.2 is basically Nexus 4, Galaxy Nexus, and Nexus 7.
Cyanogen mod.
I can't see why.
And my Nook tablet.
I can't see why the OEMs are even bothering with 4.2. It's such a pointless update. Like
it's really bad. I've heard 4.2.
They should just go straight to 5.0 if that's what
I would.
4.2 is very much a vanilla update.
Yeah.
Lock screen widgets, I can see OEMs putting that in, but like lock screen changes, they all put in their own lock screen. Quick settings, they all put in their own quick settings. Camera, they all put in their own camera.
So there's really no need for them to update to 4.2 except in number. Like they can just update it just for like the little it's stabler kind of little thing, but like other than that, they really don't need to. And I would love to see all the OEMs be like, let's skip 4.2 so that we can move on and prepare for key lime pie, whatever it is when it hits.
That isn't going to happen. I mean, it's like that kind of dream that one day OEMs will suddenly realise that Android is the way forward, and everyone will stop with their skins.
Like Motorola.
Because that's going to happen. Yep. Oh, Motorola. Let's talk about that. The Razr and the Razr Max have both received a 4.1.2 update.
4.1.2. Yep.
And the main feature of this is the close comparison to that of AOSP, minus the Verizon and bloat that they have on it.
That's never going to change.
I mean, Motorola have seemed to be going down the AOSP route with their skins for quite a long time, actually. Not long, but good. Since Ice Cream Sandwich, they seem to be going down that route.
Since around a year ago. I think they first updated like their Razr, the original Razr, like a year ago to Ice Cream Sandwich, and we saw them move away from Moto Blur that they were using before, and it was just like almost completely close. It was almost like completely similar to the stock ICS UI, and that was kind of impressive. And so they've continued to do that, and with most of their software, they have had some customizations, which you can debate are good or not. But anyways, it's been interesting, especially with this Jelly Bean update for like the Razr and the Razr Max HD, because they've taken out a lot of their like stock apps. Like they've taken out the gallery, they've taken out the music player, and they've replaced them with stock Google apps, which we really don't see any OEMs doing. Like you can still download them, but to come as on the device as a default, that has to say something about Google's like influence over Motorola.
Frankly, it's come to the point where having stock Jelly Bean is like a skin on its own because no one else does it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
By Nexus because of the fact that has stock Jelly Bean, while no one else. But I mean, you've all seen. We talked about this before the XDA video that Asian Knock did about skins and OEMs, and how basically OEMs take the skin and change the system and the code of it so much that it's basically not a skin anymore.
When they take TouchWiz, it's not a modified version of Android as such. It's a modified version of Linux. It's not really anything to do with Android.
Yeah, like I think last year at I/O, Mateus Duarte said like there are a lot of Android-based devices out there.
Yeah.
Like because
the only reason they call it Android is so they can put the Play Store on it because they've got so many apps. That's the selling point of it.
And that's the only thing Google care about is that they can get the Play Store onto the devices because that's where they make their money.
See, Ubuntu are being quite smart about that. They've made an operating system that it is relatively easy to port Android apps from. So
and
so did BlackBerry.
Not some emulator either.
And BlackBerry as well. They've addressed
that there's... BlackBerry's running an emulator. That's what I was saying.
Like they've addressed that there's so many Android apps. Well, why didn't they take advantage of that instead of doing what Windows Phone have done? And it's just not going to work. They're never going to have as many apps as Android do or iOS.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing is that Windows Phone could really easily get pushed out of the number 3 spot because I mean they're barely hanging on to it. They could easily be replaced by BlackBerry or Ubuntu or Firefox.
But that is what Microsoft want. I don't think they want to be first and second. They want to be third. They want to be the third option.
Everyone has come to the realization point that they're not going to be one or two. They're all fighting for 3.
Yeah, plus you have to admit that there's no way that they can lose at it because they've got so much money from Windows that they can just keep throwing money at it and they'll just keep selling at least a little bit of phones so that they'll stay in that number 3 spot for at least for the foreseeable future.
I would love to see Ubuntu Phone in number 3 because I
would too.
Look at that and then look at Windows 8.
No.
It's just it does seem to be such a better operating system. Even the developer preview does seem to be a lot better. But it's going to have its pluses and minuses. It's, Microsoft support is probably, arguably, is going to be better because it's like a huge company compared to Canonical.
One thing I must say, I know with Windows Phone 7 when the Mango update came because they all had the same hardware, they all got the update within 6 weeks.
And, that's something to notice. Yeah.
And Windows 8, Windows Phone 8, it's also very similar. They all have the same specs. They all have the same specs where it matters.
That would probably be the same with a lot of phones. If, say, there wasn't any skins as such, it was all just stock Android, you would probably get that a lot more.
There is an idea that the OEMs could do the update to the phones and later release their skin, their apps and such.
That would be nice. If they could release it first and then give it an option. People have always thought about this this dream where you could power on your phone for the first time and it would ask you which do you want to run. Do you want to run stock Android or do you want to run TouchWiz? And you could choose, I want stock Android or I want TouchWiz because I like colors.
Never had it. Think about it. We just discussed about TouchWiz and Sense 5 being different versions of Android. That is practically dual booting. If that option was ever available,
that'd be awesome.
It would be awesome.
The bottom line is it's never going to happen. It's not going to ever happen. It's
the only OEM who I can think of that actually puts out builds that have anything resembling stock are Sony with their developer builds.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's ridiculous that Motorola aren't doing this. They're the closest people to Google, and they're so slow.
It's because they're under Verizon's wing. It's they're not very popular overseas at all. The only place that they're really all that popular is on Verizon, and that's even decreasing because the success of the Droid whole thing is finally dying down. For years now, people have been keep calling him Droid. Yeah, to the Galaxy thing. But anyways, they need to stay under Motorola's wing, and Motorola doesn't let them unlock their bootloaders, and they can't stick up to them and be like, well, you know what? We want to unlock our bootloaders. Well, Verizon's going to say, okay, then we'll just have Samsung be our flagship phone instead of Motorola. So they can't do that because that's really the only way that they're making money because they're not that popular on AT&T. They're not that popular on Sprint, and I don't think they even have a phone on T-Mobile, and they're not very popular overseas either. So the only appeal is that they're on Verizon.
Nobody buys Motorola's here. I have a mate who has a Motorola Razr I, which is actually a pretty good phone. I'm not gonna lie, it's a nice phone, but Motorola's are just there's kind of in the UK. I'm sure Archie back me up on this. There's more. I think recently there's been the iPhone. Lots of young people have Blackberries, and then there's Android.
The Galaxy S3 seems to be. Before, everybody had the iPhone 4S or the iPhone 4.
Yep. Yep.
But now,
Galaxy S3.
you look on the bus and you see everyone's either got a Kindle or a Galaxy S3.
That's the same here in Canada. Everyone has either an iPhone or Galaxy S3.
Yes, exactly.
To think where Apple were a few years ago, and think how much Samsung have caught up, that's actually quite an impressive figure.
Yeah.
I think it's strange because Brazil is an emerging country, but all you can see, the most things you can see is iPhones and such. Then there's Galaxies, Sonys, and the rest. But Apple is dominant here. They haven't been costing a lot, but really a lot, like double the US price, for example.
Yeah, that's one thing is that at least I don't usually realize that, but many of the Nexus deals and the subsidies that you get through carriers, they just don't happen in other countries. So over here you could get a Nexus 4 for like $350, or you can get like an iPhone for like $200 on contract, whereas like in other countries it can be like $1,000, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, another thing I noticed is like just looking at the US, even the phones that are sold on contract have low subsidies. Like here in Canada, a phone averages a $500 subsidy, whereas in the States they get a $350 subsidy. And like to the same price. I mean, okay, sure, ours are cheaper. Like in the States, the 1X Plus is $200, whereas here it's like $100. But if you look at something like a Galaxy S3, they're both like similar on contract prices.
Yeah.
Whereas the US has a much cheaper off contract price, and they have a bunch of like I don't really know what the right word is. I guess medium range ones.
Yeah.
Mid-range devices.
Yeah, mid-range devices.
Like $150 to $100. Yeah.
Yeah, like $50 to $100.
That's the other thing. The way Samsung's marketing is at the moment, it seems they just want to make a device every single type of device. Like the Note series, there's going to be a Note, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That seems to be what it's going to be. And
I hate to see that happen because the Note, for the longest time now, for 3 years running, we've had like nothing but devices with the Galaxy brand on them, and so the Note was kind of a little fresh thing from that because it had the stylus. It was special. It had the Note, and as long as they keep the stylus with it and keep that kind of exclusive, it will retain a little bit of that exclusivity. But I think we can start to see them. Oh my God, we can start to see them like branch out into different sizes with that.
I think
the C Pen.
The only you look at Apple and they've got they have one device a year. They've got the iPhone and then they've got the iPad and they've got the iPad Mini. And then the iPod obviously. But you think how many they've sold and they've got at the most 5 handsets. Samsung have got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and
that's what in a way Samsung is doing what Apple's doing. They have the Galaxy S line that is like for the first half of the year, and then they have the Note line for the second half.
Yeah.
And then they have 100 medium-end phones between them.
And then you have the S3 Mini.
That is nothing like an S3.
Exactly.
The S2 Plus and the S2 Advanced. Don't forget there's a difference between those two.
Anyway, when they keep doing the S, and then they do the S2 Plus, and then they do the S2 HD. The S2's gone. Nobody wants the S2 anymore. We want the S3 and the S4 now.
Good point.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
I actually wanted to talk. Sorry, I want to talk about a little bit about Mobile World Congress, just a little bit more. Little sum up. Anything that took your attention at the event at all?
Nobody had a phone with a Snapdragon 800 in, or there was I think there was one person.
Yeah, ZTE.
ZTE.
And I don't think that I have seen a single ZTE or Huawei device.
Yeah.
Ever here. Ever.
Me neither.
What were they thinking? They're putting arguably the best mobile processor in the world, and they put a 720p display in it. Didn't it have 1 gig of RAM or something?
Is that in the 6.1?
Yeah. What were they thinking?
Think of it this way. By the time it comes out, everyone else will have their own ones out. You'll have the One Plus.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think the best thing about Mobile World Congress was during all these hands-on with all the phones, you realise how well Samsung and HTC have actually done with their skins when you see phones such as Huawei and ZTE, where you guys probably know I'm quite a big fan of. When I pick a phone, the skin itself makes a big impact. If it has a nice skin, I would consider it. If you are in ZTE, the skins looked awful. Like awful. You already got rid of the actual, which is just why would you do that?
It seems to be like every Android skin. You either love it or you absolutely hate it. But with vanilla Android,
pretty much,
you can kind of like it or you can kind of hate it. It's like in the middle.
Yeah.
Or you just go with LG and copy Samsung.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Samsung.
Pretty much every way.
Samsung copy Apple.
I think they actually use the same sound effects for like the touch sounds. Like if you listen, I've actually seen a comparison video where someone has two different phones set up right here, and they like touch both of them at the same time, and they make the exact same little water droplet.
Samsung makes that block.
It's ridiculous.
It's like
it's so obnoxious.
All they've done is swap them around. Like the lock screen sound is like what the keypad used to be, or something like that.
Yep.
They haven't reinvented them. They're like the water drop. Yeah. That is no way a water drop. That I don't know what it is, but it's not a water drop.
I'm on the news site right now, and I just saw that there is. Wait a minute, if I can find it. There is Chameleon Launcher 2. Has been teaser videos. That's not.
It's out. Available. It's out for those who pre-ordered.
It's a little bit of information on it. It says that Kickstart. Wait. Who make it? What's the name?
Chameleon.
Canadians.
Yeah.
I think it's Chameleon.
Canadians.
Right, Chameleons or Chameleon, we'll call them that. They say
Canadians.
that the launcher is geared towards phones with 1280 to 720p displays and higher, meaning that it's probably going to be quite high paced, which is good. It says that it will be released soon. $299 and $399 for the tablet version.
Now, see, this launcher came out. Chameleon launcher came out last year. I think like early fall, late summer. They've been showing it off. It was a successful Kickstarter project. They hit a couple bumps with like some Amazon donation issues where they lost all of their funding and had to start all over again. But basically, when I tried it last fall, it was pretty. It wasn't that great of an experience. It was all right, but it was also extremely overpriced. It was like $9, which is a pretty expensive for a launcher. And they hyped it up how all the widgets would be so awesome and it would fit together so seamlessly. But really, when you started using it, you realized that all the widgets were actually just web views. Like they were literally like they felt like you were clicking on a web URL.
It was like Google Reader thing, just in everything.
Yeah, Google Reader. I wasn't a big fan of it. I remember I got it on my Nexus 7 when I had my Nexus 7, and I remember using it, and I was just like, I was expecting quite a lot from it because they've been all this build up and all these like developer previews, etc. And I used it, and I was like, well, is that it? You know?
I'm totally willing to give 2.0 a try because it looks like they have improved quite a bit.
I'll tell you what really annoyed me about
it seems like
they had like how much did you say it was $9? I think it was. But you had to pay
it was like $9 back last fall.
They charged $9 for an app. Okay, fair enough. You charge, you've got to make a profit of it. But the fact that then they don't update it for months, like, come on.
And then drop to $3.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. I think.
It's like, so we really didn't get anything for our $6 extra, did we? Not at all.
That's right. Yeah, I think that was really out of order.
Such is life.
Massive news, everybody! The LG Optimus G has got Android 4.1.2. Sorry, that was just a...
that is huge news. Get away, Galaxy S4. We'll just talk about the LG Optimus G.
Which is actually somewhat of a surprise. Like, it actually is somewhat of a surprise because LG has a history of never updating anything. Like, not even for bug fixes. Not bug fix updates, nothing. Just no updates at all. Like,
it's got Sprint. It's Sprint
ridiculous.
Optimus G, actually.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the GSM version still doesn't have
Can any of you ever think of an OEM that's actually skipped? So, say you're on 2.3 Gingerbread, and you went, say you're on Froyo, and you went straight to 4.0. Can anyone remember anyone that's done that?
No.
My mom's LG phone got an update from Claire to Gingerbread.
The S3, if you didn't update it from Gingerbread to Ice Cream Sandwich, had an update straight from
The S3 never had Gingerbread.
Sorry, the S2, sorry. S2, if you didn't update it to Ice Cream Sandwich to begin with, there was an update which would take it straight to...
That's what I mean. No one's ever skipped a version, have they?
Not that I can think of. It just seems like there's a long enough period in between Google's updates where at least a couple OEMs have a time to get it out, and if not, then they don't like jump up to the new version because they've already been working on the subsequent version, so they don't have time to start all over again.
Well, my view is LG had access to Jelly Bean at minimum 4.1 and 4.2 for months. And why does Felipe have a potato? And
Sorry, carry on. No, we're losing.
Yeah, carry on. They had access to it for months.
So why couldn't? Frankly, when they launched the Optimus G, the S3 was out and had Jelly Bean, or was practically got it.
That's one of the main things that pisses me off. Sorry for my language, anybody who's But that annoys me so much about OEMs, such as the Xperia Z and the HTC One. They have. I know 4.2 isn't a big upgrade. I know it's not, but it really bugs me when OEMs don't keep on top of Android versions, because of course fragmentation is a big issue. We all know.
Yeah, like.
And if OEMs aren't making the effort to keep up to date with what's going on.
What was that company
really
that put?
me,
I swear it was I think it was HTC, but they put. Say it was HTC. I can't remember who it was, but they had HTC Sense with Android. What company? What company was that?
They actually said that.
Yeah, was it HTC?
Yep, they did say that. They said that at their press conference. They said HTC Sense with Android, which is ironic because they actually cut back on Sense more than ever this year, except for their Blink feed. Other than that, they really cut back on it. So it's weird that they would start calling it Sense instead of Android.
while we're talking about HTC and updating, think about all those Sense 3.6 devices.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is definitely a thing.
No, but
That
I think HTC are going to update all their One devices from 2012 to Sense
except
5, which,
the V.
Give full credit to HTC.
Yeah, except the V. The poor V. I liked the design because it was a throwback to the
Legend.
The V was
the legend.
The V was a good device at a cheap price.
My friend has it. It's a pretty good design.
It's made out of aluminum. Yes.
And frankly, if Samsung can put Jelly Bean on the S2 and all the S2s, HTC could put Jelly Bean on like the Sensation or all those ones.
The Thunderbolt.
Credit to Samsung. Updating the S2. Like, say you bought the S2, whenever you did, so you were on a 2-year contract.
2011.
You would. They've updated it enough to they've kept it in time for over them 2 years.
Yeah,
and that's how it should be.
Exactly.
And they did it with the Galaxy S as well. They kept that going. All right, fair enough, not as well.
Gingerbread.
Yeah, but
I don't think it got. Yeah, it didn't get anything further than gingerbread.
No.
The Nexus S has disappeared.
Yeah,
the Nexus S and the Motorola Zoom have dropped out of the Nexus line, and it was kind of interesting to see that.
Yeah, but again, the Nexus S it's what 3 years old now, is it?
It came out at the same time as the S2.
No,
it came out.
Oh, of course.
No, never mind.
It's based on the S2,
and it has the same specs as a Galaxy S. It has like a single core Exynos.
Never mind. Yes, you are right. You're right. So yeah, that's
cool.
I can see why that would just stay. It's surprising because if you think about that, it's the same specs as a Galaxy S. It got upgraded to Jelly Bean, whereas the S, I think it's got to have some better specs than the S.
Just talking about the S line, the Galaxy line of phones. They've gone. So the Galaxy S had a single core, didn't it? And then the S2 was the first phone to have a dual core,
Hummingbird.
And the S4 was the first to have a quad core. So is the S4 going to be the first to have an octa core or the 6-core?
It wouldn't surprise me.
I just thought that. Wait a minute. But anyway, back to topic.
Okay. Also, one thing that really bugs me.
What was the topic?
That I think one thing that I think OEMs will no longer be able to hide behind is our hardware can no longer handle it.
Yeah.
I think the only limiting factor would be RAM, really.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be entirely honest. Like, some like phones with S2 processors, 512 RAM, those need to die.
Yeah.
I know that the S3 processor phones from Sony, like S, SL, Eon, and AOS might get Android 5.0.
Yeah.
That's really good because it went from gingerbread to ice cream sandwich to jelly bean and then to key lime pie. That's a lot of updates.
something I want to talk about also as well. So Facebook, I'm sure you've all seen, announced their new newsfeed yesterday.
Do we really have to talk about
that? Facebook are apparently going to make a new Facebook phone.
Oh, that
because
really
it's not like
Adam, you've got to think here. We can either talk about Google Glass or we can talk about the Facebook phone.
No. We're getting
Facebook phone.
We're running out of topics, so I'm really.
Well, we gotta do Glass, and then we should probably wrap this up. So, I think just today we got some.
I could go all day talking about updates and low end.
Yeah, we'd like to spend nearly an hour just talking about updates.
Yeah, pretty much. I think just today we got some new Glass news on top of the whole last week or a week and a half ago or so we saw that Verge editorial and Verge video feature that featured Glass, and that was pretty cool. I liked that. But anyways, just today we got some Glass news that it looks as if a new feature is called I don't know what it's called, I can't remember the name. But anyways, it will identify different people based on, well, Google says it's based on the clothes they're wearing, but I think it's more probably based on facial recognition. Yeah. I don't think they want to come out and say that, because that would be a huge privacy thing.
So like names and stuff, or is it like the type of person?
Yeah, exactly. It's like if it sees them in front of you, pull up maybe it'll pull up their Google Plus profile in the top right corner or something like that.
That's horrific.
But yeah, so
I don't want to know everyone's Facebook profiles while walking through a station.
Surely that would be a privacy thing. Like every person you walk past in the street, their Google Plus the 10 people that have got a Google Plus profile, it's going to come up. They're not going to do it, are they?
I might end up searching through the street trying to find somebody who has a G Plus account.
Yeah, exactly. You have a Google Plus.
Google Plus will never find someone because no one here has Google Plus.
Yeah, Google keeps saying, "Oh, we've got how many users?"
Yeah, I mean, none of us have a Google Plus. We're totally not talking on Google Plus Hangouts.
Right? How many people? How many users of Google Plus? Got 400 million, haven't they? Or 300 million, something like that.
Yeah, they passed Twitter. They passed Twitter for second spot.
What they actually mean is they've got that many in emails, like Google Gmails. They have
You're
not
probably
got.
right.
They need to, if they talk about active users. I mean, they've got us 5, and they've probably got another 2 or 3. It's just they're not.
I see a lot more than that.
They're putting so much emphasis on Google Plus, and it's just everybody wants Facebook. But Facebook's the thing.
So we can't keep digging into it.
Now the big question is, would the Facebook phone have Google Plus installed on it?
No, it won't.
That's the thing.
That's like a paradox.
Hey. If they want Google services, they need Google Plus, don't they?
Do they want Google services?
If they want the Play Store.
They need to if they want anything.
Do you think they have their little Facebook logo at the bottom? Like, do you remember the HTC Salsa?
Oh,
the HTC Salsa.
No, Chacho, that was it.
Yep, I remember those. Oh, bad.
I can pick one up for $100 at Walmart.
I can pick one up for less on Swappa. Because everybody who got one's like, oh my goodness, get rid of this thing.
No, don't. You guys need to stop. It's a good phone. I mean, this touchscreen is like this big.
Adam, you've got an iPad Mini. You shouldn't say anything about good phones.
You need to shut up about the iPad Mini. Okay, I know we're doing this podcast and the host of the iPad Mini.
Do you like your Retina display?
Okay, so. I had an idea for the end of the podcast just as a nice way to wrap up. So basically, I'm going to pose you guys a question, and each person gets exactly 45 seconds to answer. So, my question is, what do you think will be Glass's biggest problem getting into the mainstream? Will it be the privacy concerns, or the price, or just people thinking it's creepy? So, I guess we'll start with Adam because he's on the far right, or far left, sorry. And I guess 3, 2, 1, go.
I think Google Glass's biggest problem will be mainly price. $1,500 is way too much for a fancy phone, camera, tablet. And also, I think that getting it out to consumers as well will be a big problem. I mean, you can't exactly go up to something. I mean, it is cool, but I don't think it will take off. $1,500 again is too much. And also, it looks a bit ugly in my eyes. It doesn't look that nice.
Beautiful. It is a beautiful piece of.
It's a bit like an ugly. Where kind of ugly glasses and goggles put together, and I don't think it looks nice. But apart from that, it looks amazing.
Okay, and then that's Adam. So now I'm going to move on to Archie.
Well, can we use 5 words? Like,
sure,
no one's going to wear it. That's the thing. No, who wants to walk around with glasses and you look? I'm sorry, but you do look like an idiot with them on. I haven't seen one person yet that looks like they're just not going to sell. I think enthusiasts will buy them. Like, probably will, or hopefully try and get them if the price isn't ridiculous. But like people who, if you say they're the same price as a phone, say they're like £400, you can have that, or you can get a Galaxy S4. You know what? It's just a no-brainer. Like, I can't see what they're aiming for there. It seems to me they're just doing it to say, yeah, we can do this.
Oh, okay, it's a pretty good thing to show off. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a show-off thing.
Okay,
just
and
show
then
off.
Sean, you can go.
Okay, my thing is a few things. First of all, where are people going to be able to try it? There aren't Google retail stores yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Then there's the price. Then there's the price.
Yeah.
And then there's the, well, what does this do that's different? Because...
Oh, I've got another one.
No, Adam.
No,
Adam, you had your 45 seconds.
This is a big one. No, this is a big one. Right, data
it's not your turn.
Data connection. If you're
They've already said it's going to be...
That was my next
They already said it's going to be Bluetooth. They already said.
Bluetooth?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was my next point.
It's
Sean's turn!
Why don't they make their own network?
And my final point is constant Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connection to your phone, unless it's a Droid Razr Max or a Note 2, will destroy its battery life.
Yeah. It's gonna.
Yeah,
the glass
glass
surely can't have a very big battery either.
Yeah.
No.
And that camera is constantly on. That's going to use a lot of power.
As long as it lasts a day, it should be good.
Okay, and now we're going to move on to Felipe, and then I'll talk after him. So there you go, Felipe. Your turn.
The main problems I think there will be is battery, the data, because data sucks in Brazil. For those who wear glasses, already use glasses like me, and I think the fear of being robbed, because it's going to be a quite expensive product in Brazil. Well, the taxes of robbing is it's high.
So yeah, like the taxes are a lot in countries like where Fleet lives. The taxes are like a lot more than there are over here.
Yeah.
But then, can they manage to sell it in this country to compensate for that? You know.
Okay, and then I guess I'll just
go on, Mike. Hit us.
Okay.
Go for it, mate.
Okay. So I guess my biggest thing is I think it's actually probably going to be the privacy thing. It might get hung up on that because if you think about it, like we were just talking about with the whole facial recognition thing, is that it has the potential to kind of recognize anybody on the street and just be like instantly Google search them, instantly Google search for them. You can find out anything about them just by looking at them, which is awesome for like creepers like us. But like I think normal people who are just out and about on the street are going to be like, well, I don't want people walking up to me, taking pictures of me, and then like knowing who I am just from seeing me on the street for a split second.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's just kind of my thought, is that I think it actually will get hung up on privacy.
They should, if they've got
their money and get
like one of the biggest problems is going to be the data. Like it's going to use an awful lot of data. So Google are like what? They're like in the top 10 of the biggest companies in the world. Why don't they make their own network? Why don't they? I mean, I'm being serious. They don't need to make it a 4G network. They probably don't even need to make it a 3G network. Just one with lots of coverage, and there you go.
And that's a Britain speaking. Imagine me as a Brazilian that 4G isn't even close to getting sorry.
I'd like to know Brazil's making brand
close to get to my city.
Curitiba.
Yeah.
It would take a lot of years to get to my city. That's one of the biggest of the state.
And on Google
It'll take a while to get those.
I think it's about time we wrapped up.
Yep. So
yeah.
Thank you everybody for joining.
It's been fun.
It has been fun. If you guys check out TeenDroid.com for all the latest Android news and information, and we'll see you hopefully next week. My name's Adam. You've been listening to the podcast.
I'm Mike.
Sean.
Sorry about everybody.
I'm Dave.
And we will see you next week. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, we can stop now. That's it.